What if the biggest mistake most men make after 50 isn't what they're eating, but what they're ignoring? Deep inside the body, a tiny gland no larger than a walnut quietly changes year after year. At first, it's only a few extra trips to the bathroom. Then sleep becomes interrupted. The bladder never feels completely empty. Energy fades, patience wears thin, and many simply accept it as getting older. But what if one small food, something you could hold in the palm of your hand, contains natural compounds that researchers have been studying for years because of their potential to support prostate health? Today's journey isn't about miracle cures or magical promises. It's about understanding how one remarkable nut may help protect one of the most important glands in the male body, and why nature often works in ways that modern science is only beginning to fully appreciate. Have you ever noticed how the body rarely shouts when something begins to change? More often, it whispers, a small discomfort here, a restless night there, a feeling that something is different but not serious enough to demand attention. This is especially true when it comes to the prostate. Many men spend years adapting to these quiet changes without realizing that their bodies are trying to communicate something important. They tell themselves that waking up once or twice during the night is simply part of getting older. They believe that standing at the bathroom a little longer than before is nothing unusual. They accept a weaker urine stream or the feeling that the bladder never fully empties as if these experiences are unavoidable companions of aging. But understanding why these changes happen is the first step toward taking better care of yourself. The prostate is a small gland found only in men. It sits just below the bladder and surrounds part of the urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the body. In younger years, this gland performs its job quietly without asking for much attention. It helps produce fluid that nourishes and protects sperm, making it an important part of the male reproductive system. Although it is only about the size of a walnut in a healthy adult, its location gives it an influence far greater than its size would suggest. Imagine placing a soft ring around a garden hose. As long as the ring remains the same size, water flows freely through the hose. But if that ring slowly becomes thicker, it begins to squeeze the hose little by little. The flow of water becomes weaker, slower, and less predictable. Something very similar can happen inside the body. When the prostate gradually enlarges, it can press against the urethra. Even a small increase in size may affect the way urine leaves the bladder because the space through which urine travels becomes narrower. This enlargement is commonly known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, often shortened to BPH. The word benign is important because it means the enlargement is not cancer. Many people hear the word enlarged prostate and immediately become frightened. But an enlarged prostate and prostate cancer are different conditions. One does not automatically mean the other. Still, even though BPH is not cancer, it can significantly affect comfort, confidence, and daily life if ignored. One of the reasons this condition is so common is that the prostate changes naturally with age. Scientists believe that hormonal changes occurring throughout a man's lifetime play a major role. As the years pass, the balance between different hormones slowly shifts. One hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, continues to influence prostate cells. Over time, these cells may multiply, causing the gland to become larger. Researchers also believe that aging tissues become more vulnerable to inflammation and oxidative stress, creating an environment where enlargement becomes more likely. What makes this process particularly challenging is its slow pace. It usually doesn't happen in a few weeks or even a few months. It unfolds over many years. Because the changes are gradual, many men adjust their routines without realizing how much their lives have changed. They begin planning every outing around restroom availability. They stop drinking water before long car rides. They hesitate to attend movies, concerts, or social gatherings because they worry about needing frequent bathroom breaks. Without noticing it, their world slowly becomes smaller. Nighttime is often when these changes become most noticeable. Sleep, one of the body's greatest healing tools, starts to break apart. A man who once slept peacefully for 7 or 8 hours may suddenly find himself waking 2, 3, or even 4 times each night to urinate. At first, it seems like a minor inconvenience, but interrupted sleep has consequences that extend far beyond simple tiredness. When sleep becomes fragmented night after night, the brain has less opportunity to complete the restorative processes that support memory, emotional balance, and concentration. The immune system also depends on quality sleep to function efficiently. Poor sleep may contribute to lower energy levels, irritability, reduced motivation, and difficulty focusing during the day. Some men mistakenly believe they are simply becoming less energetic because of age, when in reality much of their fatigue may stem from months or even years of disrupted sleep. The bladder also works harder under these circumstances. It may feel full more often because it cannot empty completely. This lingering sensation encourages more frequent trips to the bathroom, even when only a small amount of urine is released. The cycle becomes frustrating. The urge feels urgent, but the result is disappointing. Over time, this repeated experience can become emotionally exhausting. There is also the quiet emotional burden that few people openly discuss. Many men hesitate to talk about urinary symptoms, even with close family members or their doctors. Some feel embarrassed. Others fear receiving bad news. Many simply believe these problems are an unavoidable part of aging that must be endured in silence. This silence often delays evaluation and treatment, allowing symptoms to gradually become more severe. Confidence can also begin to fade. Imagine feeling uncertain during every long meeting, family gathering, or road trip. Instead of enjoying the moment, part of your attention remains focused on finding the nearest restroom. Activities that once brought happiness may slowly become sources of anxiety. Even traveling can begin to feel stressful because of concerns about bathroom access. Relationships may also be affected in subtle ways. Interrupted sleep can leave both partners feeling tired. Constant fatigue may reduce enthusiasm for hobbies, conversations, and physical intimacy. Mood changes caused by poor sleep may create tension without anyone realizing that the prostate is contributing to the problem. What appears to be simple aging or stress may actually involve a chain of biological events beginning with a small gland hidden deep within the body. Fortunately, awareness changes everything. The earlier these symptoms are recognized, the more options are usually available to manage them. Lifestyle habits, nutritional choices, medical evaluation, and appropriate treatments can all play valuable roles depending on the individual's situation. Paying attention to the body's quiet signals is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of wisdom. The human body is constantly communicating, offering small clues long before serious problems develop. Learning to listen with curiosity instead of fear allows us to respond before discomfort becomes suffering, and before ordinary daily moments are slowly shaped by a condition that often begins with nothing more than a gentle whisper inside a gland no larger than a walnut. Now that we understand why the prostate changes with age, an important question naturally follows. If the body is constantly rebuilding and repairing itself, can the foods we eat influence that process? For generations, people have looked to nature for answers, often passing down traditional foods believed to support health. Today, modern science has begun examining many of these foods more closely, not to prove ancient wisdom right or wrong, but to understand how certain nutrients interact with the human body. Among the foods that have attracted growing scientific interest is one remarkable nut, the Brazil nut. At first glance, a Brazil nut does not seem extraordinary. It is larger than most other nuts, with a smooth, creamy texture and a rich, slightly buttery flavor. It grows on enormous trees found in the Amazon rainforest, where these trees can live for hundreds of years. Hidden inside this simple food is an impressive collection of nutrients that scientists continue to study for their effects on human health. While no single food has the power to completely prevent or cure disease, some foods provide nutrients that support the body's natural protective systems, and Brazil nuts are among the richest examples. Perhaps the most well-known nutrient found in Brazil nuts is selenium. In fact, Brazil nuts are considered one of the richest natural dietary sources of selenium in the world. Selenium is a trace mineral, meaning the body only needs a very small amount each day. Yet despite its tiny required quantity, its importance is enormous. Every cell in the body depends on nutrients working together in harmony, and selenium plays a role in several essential biological processes. One of selenium's most valuable functions is supporting the body's antioxidant defenses. Every day, our cells produce energy to keep us alive. During this process, unstable molecules known as free radicals are naturally created. In small amounts, these molecules are normal, but when too many accumulate because of aging, poor diet, smoking, pollution, chronic stress, or illness, they can create a condition known as oxidative stress. You can think of oxidative stress like the slow rusting of metal. Rust doesn't destroy a piece of iron overnight. It develops gradually. weakening the structure over many years. A similar process can occur inside our bodies. Oxidative stress slowly damages cells, proteins, and even DNA. Scientists believe this damage contributes to many age-related conditions, including changes in the prostate. This is where selenium becomes especially interesting. It helps the body produce antioxidant enzymes that work like tiny repair teams, reducing the damage caused by excessive free radicals. These enzymes help maintain healthier cells by protecting them from unnecessary wear and tear. While they cannot stop aging, they may help the body age more gracefully by supporting its natural defense mechanisms. Researchers have been exploring whether adequate selenium intake may help maintain normal prostate function. Some studies suggest that maintaining healthy selenium levels is associated with better cellular protection in prostate tissue. However, scientific findings have not always been completely consistent. This is an important reminder that nutrition is rarely simple. The human body is incredibly complex, and no single nutrient determines health on its own. Instead, selenium appears to be one valuable piece of a much larger puzzle. Brazil nuts also contain healthy fats, particularly unsaturated fats that support overall wellness. Unlike unhealthy trans fats found in many highly processed foods, these natural fats contribute to healthy cell membranes throughout the body. Every cell is surrounded by a protective membrane that controls what enters and leaves. Healthy fats help maintain the flexibility and integrity of these membranes, allowing cells to function more efficiently. The prostate itself is made up of millions of living cells that constantly communicate with one another. Healthy fats support this communication by contributing to the normal structure of cell membranes. They also play a role in reducing unnecessary inflammation throughout the body when consumed as part of a balanced diet. Inflammation deserves special attention because it is one of the body's most fascinating survival tools. When you cut your finger, inflammation helps begin the healing process. It brings immune cells to the injured area, removes damaged tissue, and supports repair. In the short term, inflammation protects us. The problem begins when low-grade inflammation quietly continues for months or years without fully resolving. Scientists believe chronic inflammation may contribute to many conditions associated with aging, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, and changes within the prostate. Nutrient-rich foods containing antioxidants and healthy fats may help support a healthier inflammatory balance. This does not mean they eliminate inflammation entirely, nor should they. Instead, they help the body regulate its response more effectively. Brazil nuts also provide vitamin E, another antioxidant that works alongside selenium rather than replacing it. Antioxidants rarely act alone. They function as a team, supporting one another in protecting cells from excessive oxidative damage. This teamwork reflects one of nature's most remarkable principles. Health rarely depends on one powerful compound acting independently. Instead, it emerges from many nutrients working together in harmony. In addition to selenium and vitamin E, Brazil nuts provide magnesium, zinc, copper, phosphorus, and small amounts of protein and fiber. Each nutrient contributes its own unique role. Magnesium supports hundreds of enzyme reactions throughout the body. Zinc plays an important part in immune function and normal cellular activity. Copper contributes to energy production and connective tissue health. None of these nutrients specifically target only the prostate. Instead, they help maintain overall physiological balance, allowing different organs to perform their functions more efficiently. It is also worth understanding what Brazil nuts cannot do. Sometimes the internet promotes foods as if they possess magical healing powers. Claims that one Brazil nut will instantly shrink an enlarged prostate or permanently eliminate urinary symptoms are not supported by scientific evidence. The body does not work that way. Biological change usually occurs gradually, shaped by years of daily habits rather than one extraordinary meal. An enlarged prostate develops over many years through complex interactions involving hormones, genetics, aging, inflammation, and lifestyle. Because the condition develops slowly, improvement also requires patience. Nutritious foods may support healthier biological processes, but they are not substitutes for proper medical evaluation. If someone experiences persistent difficulty urinating, blood in the urine, severe pain, repeated urinary tract infections, or rapidly worsening symptoms, relying solely on dietary changes would not be appropriate. Medical assessment remains essential because urinary symptoms can have several different causes, including conditions requiring professional treatment. The real value of Brazil nuts lies in their ability to become one small part of a larger pattern of healthy living. Imagine building a strong house. One brick alone cannot support the structure, but every carefully placed brick contributes to the stability of the entire building. Nutrition works in much the same way. Every healthy choice strengthens the body's foundation a little more. Perhaps the most fascinating lesson hidden inside this simple nut is not only about selenium or antioxidants. It is the reminder that the human body responds to consistency rather than perfection. Cells quietly renew themselves every day. Tissues constantly repair microscopic damage. Enzymes perform millions of chemical reactions every second without asking for recognition. Our daily meals become the raw materials for this extraordinary work. Choosing foods rich in natural nutrients is less about chasing miracle cures and more about giving the body the resources it needs to perform the remarkable maintenance it has been carrying out since the very first day of life. If there is one lesson that modern science continues to teach us, it is that no organ exists in isolation. The prostate does not make decisions on its own. It responds to the environment created by the entire body. Every meal, every night of sleep, every walk, every stressful day, and every healthy habit sends signals that influence how our cells behave. When we begin to understand this connection, we stop asking, "What is the one thing that will fix my prostate?" and start asking a much wiser question: how can I create a healthier environment inside my body? One of the most important concepts researchers study today is chronic inflammation. Many people hear the word inflammation and immediately think of swelling after an injury. But inflammation is much more than that. It is the body's natural defense system. If you catch a virus or cut your hand, inflammation helps protect you. It brings immune cells to the area, removes damaged tissue, and begins the healing process. Without inflammation, even a small wound could become dangerous. The problem begins when inflammation never completely switches off. Instead of appearing only when needed, it continues quietly in the background for months or even years. This is known as chronic low-grade inflammation. Unlike an obvious injury, you cannot usually see or feel it directly. Yet scientists believe it may contribute to many age-related health conditions, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, cognitive decline, and changes within the prostate. As men grow older, the body naturally becomes more vulnerable to this persistent inflammatory state. Years of processed foods, excess body weight, physical inactivity, poor sleep, smoking, excessive alcohol, and long-term stress can all contribute to an internal environment where inflammation becomes more common. The prostate, like every other organ, is exposed to these signals every single day. Imagine living beside a busy construction site where dust fills the air continuously. One day of dust may not cause much trouble, but years of constant exposure gradually affect everything nearby. Chronic inflammation behaves in a similar way. It slowly places stress on tissues throughout the body. Over time, cells may begin functioning differently, repair processes become less efficient, and organs become more vulnerable to age-related changes. Researchers also study another important factor called oxidative stress. Earlier, we explored how free radicals are naturally produced as the body creates energy. Normally, antioxidants keep these unstable molecules under control. However, when oxidative stress increases faster than the body's ability to neutralize it, cells begin experiencing gradual damage. Interestingly, inflammation and oxidative stress often work together. One can increase the other, creating a cycle that becomes difficult for the body to break. Scientists believe this ongoing interaction may play a role in prostate enlargement by affecting the delicate balance of normal cell growth and repair. Hormones add another layer to this fascinating picture. Throughout life, hormones act as chemical messengers, carrying instructions between organs. Testosterone is often the hormone people associate with men, but it is only part of a much larger system. As men age, testosterone levels may slowly decline, while other hormonal changes continue taking place. One hormone receiving particular attention in prostate research is dihydrotestosterone, commonly called DHT. This hormone is created from testosterone through the action of a natural enzyme. DHT plays an important role during male development and continues to influence prostate tissue throughout adulthood. Scientists believe that prolonged exposure to DHT contributes to the gradual growth of prostate cells in many men. This does not mean testosterone itself is the enemy. Hormones perform countless essential functions, including maintaining muscle mass, bone strength, energy, mood, and sexual health. The body depends on careful hormonal balance rather than eliminating one hormone entirely. Once again, biology reminds us that health is about harmony, not extremes. This is where lifestyle begins to matter more than many people realize. Every healthy choice influences this internal balance in subtle but meaningful ways. Food provides the nutrients required for repair. Exercise helps regulate hormones and metabolism. Sleep allows the brain and immune system to recover. Stress management influences chemical messengers that affect nearly every organ. Together, these daily habits shape the environment in which the prostate exists. Physical activity is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools available. Movement improves blood circulation throughout the body, allowing oxygen and nutrients to reach tissues more efficiently. Exercise also helps regulate blood sugar, supports a healthy weight, and reduces many inflammatory markers associated with chronic disease. The encouraging news is that exercise does not have to be extreme. Many people imagine intense gym workouts, but regular walking, cycling, swimming, light strength training, stretching, or even gardening can contribute to better overall health. The goal is consistency rather than perfection. A body that moves regularly often functions more efficiently than one that spends most of the day sitting. Maintaining a healthy weight also deserves attention. Excess body fat is not simply stored energy. Fat tissue is biologically active and releases substances that can influence inflammation throughout the body. As body fat increases, particularly around the abdomen, the risk of chronic inflammation may also increase. Losing even a modest amount of excess weight has been shown to improve many aspects of metabolic health. Nutrition remains one of the strongest influences on this internal environment. Diets rich in colorful vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, healthy fats, fish, seeds, and nuts provide vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber that support countless biological processes. At the same time, reducing highly processed foods, sugary beverages, excessive refined carbohydrates, and heavily processed meats may help create conditions that favor healthier aging. Hydration is another surprisingly important factor. The bladder and urinary system function best when the body receives adequate fluids throughout the day. Some men intentionally drink very little water because they hope it will reduce bathroom visits. Unfortunately, becoming dehydrated may irritate the bladder and concentrate the urine, potentially making urinary symptoms feel even worse. Instead of drastically restricting fluids, many healthcare professionals recommend staying well hydrated during the day while reducing large amounts of fluids close to bedtime if nighttime urination becomes troublesome. Sleep often receives less attention than diet or exercise, yet it may be equally important. During sleep, the body performs countless maintenance activities that are difficult to appreciate because they happen silently. Hormones are regulated, immune cells become more active, damaged proteins are cleared away, memories are strengthened, and tissues undergo repair. Chronic sleep deprivation has been associated with increased inflammation, hormonal disruption, reduced immune function, and poorer overall health. Stress also deserves recognition because the mind and body constantly communicate. Long-term psychological stress activates hormones designed to help us survive immediate danger. These responses are incredibly useful during emergencies. However, when stress remains elevated for months or years, these same hormones may contribute to inflammation, poor sleep, unhealthy eating habits, and reduced physical activity. Learning healthy ways to manage stress through walking, spending time with loved ones, prayer, meditation, hobbies, or simply enjoying moments in nature can positively influence both mental and physical well-being. Perhaps the most encouraging discovery is that the body remains remarkably adaptable throughout life. Aging does not mean improvement is impossible. Cells continue repairing themselves. Muscles respond to activity. Blood vessels adapt to healthier habits. Even small daily improvements accumulate over time. A nutritious breakfast, an evening walk, a full night's sleep, and choosing wholesome foods instead of processed snacks may seem insignificant on a single day, but repeated hundreds of times, these choices gradually reshape the internal environment in which every organ, including the prostate, must live. This reminds us that lasting health is rarely built through dramatic changes made once, but through ordinary decisions repeated with patience until they become part of the quiet rhythm of everyday life. By now, it becomes clear that even the healthiest food should be approached with understanding rather than excitement alone. When people hear that a certain food contains powerful nutrients, they sometimes believe that eating more will automatically produce better results. But the human body does not usually reward excess. It rewards balance. This is one of the most important lessons in nutrition. A nutrient that is beneficial in the right amount may become unnecessary or even harmful when consumed in large quantities. Brazil nuts are a perfect example of this principle. Because Brazil nuts are one of the richest natural sources of selenium, they deserve both appreciation and respect. Selenium is essential for human health, but the body requires only a small amount each day. Unlike nutrients that the body can safely consume in very large quantities, selenium has a relatively narrow range between getting enough and getting too much. This means that moderation is not simply a suggestion, it is part of using this food wisely. For most healthy adults, eating 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day is generally enough to provide a significant amount of selenium. In fact, depending on where the nuts were grown, even a single Brazil nut may provide the recommended daily amount. The exact selenium content can vary because the trees absorb different amounts of minerals from the soil in which they grow. Some nuts naturally contain more selenium than others, making it difficult to know the exact amount in every serving. This natural variation reminds us that food is different from manufactured supplements. Nature does not produce identical copies. Every fruit, vegetable, seed, and nut carries small differences depending on climate, soil quality, rainfall, and growing conditions. That is one reason nutrition experts usually recommend variety rather than depending entirely on one food. Eating several handfuls of Brazil nuts every day is not likely to provide extra prostate benefits. Instead, consuming excessive selenium over long periods may increase the risk of unwanted side effects. Scientists refer to this condition as selenium toxicity, although it is uncommon and usually occurs after consistently consuming far more selenium than the body needs. Symptoms of excessive selenium intake may include brittle nails, hair loss, a metallic taste in the mouth, digestive discomfort, unusual fatigue, irritability, or nerve-related symptoms in more severe cases. These effects are not something most people experience from eating an occasional extra nut, but they illustrate why more is not always better. This idea challenges a common misunderstanding about healthy eating. Many people search for a single superfood that can solve complex health problems. They imagine that if 1 serving is healthy, 10 servings must be even healthier. Biology rarely works this way. The body functions through careful balance, with thousands of chemical reactions occurring simultaneously. Every nutrient interacts with many others. Too much of one nutrient can sometimes interfere with another. Instead of treating Brazil nuts as medicine, it is more helpful to view them as one valuable ingredient in a much larger dietary pattern. A healthy meal is like a well-performed orchestra. Every instrument contributes something unique. No single instrument creates the entire performance. Vegetables contribute vitamins and fiber. Fruits provide antioxidants and natural plant compounds. Whole grains offer steady energy and beneficial nutrients. Fish supplies omega-3 fatty acids. Beans provide plant protein and minerals. Nuts and seeds contribute healthy fats, vitamins, and trace elements. Together, they create harmony that no individual food can achieve alone. One practical way to enjoy Brazil nuts is to eat 1 whole nut with breakfast alongside fresh fruit and plain yogurt, or with a bowl of oatmeal. Some people enjoy chopping a Brazil nut into small pieces and sprinkling it over cereal or salads. Others include it as part of a handful of mixed unsalted nuts, allowing greater nutritional variety while naturally limiting portion size. Choosing unsalted Brazil nuts is generally a wiser option whenever possible. Many packaged snack foods contain large amounts of added sodium. Although sodium itself does not directly enlarge the prostate, excessive salt intake may contribute to high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. Since heart health and prostate health are both influenced by overall lifestyle, Reducing unnecessary sodium supports the body in multiple ways. Processing methods also matter. Roasted Brazil nuts remain nutritious, although excessive roasting at very high temperatures may slightly reduce some heat-sensitive nutrients. Raw or lightly roasted varieties both fit well within a balanced diet. The most important consideration is choosing products without excessive added sugars, heavy coatings, or unhealthy oils that can reduce the overall nutritional quality. People with tree nut allergies should avoid Brazil nuts unless advised otherwise by their healthcare provider. Allergic reactions can range from mild itching to life-threatening emergencies. Anyone who has experienced allergic symptoms after eating tree nuts should never assume that Brazil nuts will be safe simply because they are trying to improve their health. Certain individuals may also need personalized advice before making significant dietary changes. People with chronic kidney disease, digestive disorders affecting nutrient absorption, or those taking specific medications may have unique nutritional needs. Consulting a healthcare professional or registered dietitian allows dietary recommendations to be tailored to individual circumstances rather than relying on general advice alone. Brazil nuts become even more beneficial when combined with other foods known to support healthy aging. Pumpkin seeds, for example, provide zinc and plant compounds that researchers have studied for prostate health. Tomatoes contain lycopene, a natural pigment that has attracted scientific interest because of its antioxidant properties. Fatty fish such as salmon and sardines provide omega-3 fatty acids that support cardiovascular health and may help regulate inflammation. Colorful berries contribute additional antioxidants. Leafy green vegetables provide vitamins, minerals, and fiber that nourish the body in countless ways. Fiber deserves particular attention because many people consume far less than recommended. A fiber-rich diet supports healthy digestion, helps regulate blood sugar, contributes to heart health, and encourages a diverse community of beneficial bacteria living inside the intestines. Scientists increasingly recognize that the gut microbiome influences many aspects of health, including immune function and inflammation. Although research exploring direct connections between gut bacteria and prostate health continues to develop, maintaining a healthy digestive system benefits the body as a whole. Eating slowly also offers surprising advantages. Modern life often encourages rushed meals eaten while driving, working, or looking at screens, yet digestion begins long before food reaches the stomach. Smelling, chewing, and savoring food activate digestive processes that help the body absorb nutrients more efficiently. Slowing down during meals also makes it easier to recognize feelings of fullness, reducing the likelihood of overeating. Consistency matters far more than perfection. Some people become discouraged after eating an unhealthy meal and decide they have failed completely. The body does not judge us based on one lunch or one dinner. It responds to patterns repeated over weeks, months, and years. One nutritious meal cannot erase years of unhealthy habits, just as one unhealthy meal cannot undo years of good choices. Every opportunity to nourish the body becomes another step in a much longer journey. This perspective removes unnecessary pressure. There is no need to search endlessly for miracle foods or impossible diets. Lasting health grows from ordinary habits practiced with patience. Eating one Brazil nut each day, enjoying colorful vegetables, staying physically active, sleeping well, drinking enough water, and attending regular medical checkups may seem like small actions when viewed individually. Yet together they form a lifestyle that supports not only the prostate but nearly every system within the body, proving once again that nature's greatest strength is often found not in dramatic transformations but in the quiet power of balance repeated day after day. When people first hear about foods that may support prostate health, it is easy to believe that the benefits stop there. But the human body is far more interconnected than that. Nutrients do not carry labels telling them to work only in one organ. They travel through the bloodstream, reaching every tissue, every gland, and every cell. The same nutrients that help protect the prostate often play important roles throughout the entire body. This reminds us that good nutrition is never about caring for a single organ in isolation. It is about creating conditions in which the whole body can function more effectively. Consider selenium once again. Although much attention has been given to its possible role in supporting prostate health, selenium participates in many other biological processes. One of its most important jobs is helping the immune system function properly. Every day, your immune system performs an astonishing amount of work without asking for recognition. It identifies harmful bacteria, viruses, and other unwanted invaders. It also helps remove damaged cells that have reached the end of their natural lives. This constant surveillance continues whether you are awake or asleep. The immune system is often compared to an army, but it may be more accurate to think of it as a highly organized community. Different types of cells communicate with one another, exchange information, and respond according to the body's needs. For this communication to remain effective, the body requires a steady supply of vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, proteins, and antioxidants. Selenium contributes to several of these processes by supporting antioxidant enzymes that help protect immune cells from unnecessary damage. As we grow older, maintaining a healthy immune system becomes increasingly important. Aging naturally changes the way immune cells respond. Some responses become weaker, while others become overly active, contributing to unnecessary inflammation. Scientists continue exploring how balanced nutrition supports healthier immune function throughout later life. Although no food can prevent every illness, providing the immune system with the nutrients it requires gives it a better opportunity to perform the remarkable work it was designed to do. Heart health also enters this conversation. At first, the connection between the heart and the prostate may seem unrelated, yet both depend on healthy blood vessels. Every organ relies on blood to deliver oxygen and nutrients while removing waste products. When circulation remains healthy, tissues receive the resources they need to repair themselves and function efficiently. Healthy dietary patterns that include nuts, vegetables, fruits, legumes, fish, and whole grains have consistently been associated with better cardiovascular health. Brazil nuts contribute healthy unsaturated fats along with minerals that support many normal cellular activities. While no single food protects the heart by itself, including nutrient-dense foods within an overall balanced diet supports the systems responsible for maintaining healthy circulation. The brain also benefits from the same philosophy. Every thought, memory, emotion, and decision depends upon billions of nerve cells communicating through incredibly complex electrical and chemical signals. These cells require constant nourishment. Healthy fats help maintain cell membranes. Antioxidants reduce oxidative stress, and minerals support countless enzyme reactions occurring every second. Many people notice changes in memory or concentration as they grow older. Although aging affects everyone differently, researchers continue studying how lifestyle influences long-term brain health. Regular physical activity, quality sleep, social engagement, mental stimulation, and nutritious eating appear to work together in preserving cognitive function. Once again, we see the same lesson repeated. Health is rarely built by one extraordinary action. It emerges from many ordinary choices practiced consistently. Energy production provides another fascinating example. Every heartbeat, every breath, every blink of your eyes requires energy. Inside each cell are tiny structures called mitochondria, often described as the power plants of the cell because they convert nutrients into usable energy. These microscopic structures work continuously from the moment life begins until the final breath. Creating energy is not a simple process. It depends on dozens of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and antioxidants functioning together. Selenium, magnesium, copper, and many other nutrients found in wholesome foods contribute to this intricate system. When people say they want more energy, they often search for stimulants such as excessive caffeine or sugary drinks. Yet true vitality usually comes from supporting the body's natural energy-producing machinery rather than forcing temporary bursts of alertness. Healthy aging itself is another concept worth reflecting upon. Many people fear aging because they associate it only with decline. Wrinkles appear, hair changes color, muscles lose strength, and recovery becomes slower than it once was. These changes are part of life. Yet healthy aging is not about pretending these changes will never happen. It is about preserving function, independence, and quality of life for as long as possible. Imagine two people reaching the age of 70. Both share the same number of birthdays, yet their daily experiences may be completely different. One remains active, enjoys long walks, plays with grandchildren, sleeps well, prepares healthy meals, and continues learning new skills. The other struggles with fatigue, poor mobility, interrupted sleep, and multiple preventable health problems. Genetics certainly influence these outcomes, but lifestyle choices accumulated over decades also play a tremendous role. Food becomes one of the quiet partners in this lifelong journey. Every meal represents an opportunity to provide the body with materials for maintenance and repair. Cells constantly replace themselves. Proteins are rebuilt. Hormones are produced. Immune cells mature. Bones undergo remodeling. Skin renews itself. Blood cells are continuously created. None of these processes stop simply because we grow older. This leads to one of the most profound truths about nutrition. Food is not simply fuel. It is information. Every bite sends chemical signals that influence how genes are expressed, how hormones are released, how inflammation is regulated, and how cells respond to their environment. Scientists sometimes describe this relationship as nutritional signaling because nutrients communicate with the body's biological systems in ways we are still working to understand. When you consistently choose whole, nutrient-rich foods, you are sending messages that encourage repair, balance, and resilience. When highly processed foods dominate the diet for years, different messages are sent. Blood sugar regulation changes. Inflammatory pathways become more active. Oxidative stress increases. The body adapts to whatever environment we repeatedly create. This does not mean perfection is necessary. No one eats perfectly every day. Life includes celebrations, holidays, family gatherings, and occasional treats. The body is remarkably forgiving. What matters most is the overall pattern rather than isolated moments. One healthy meal cannot erase years of unhealthy habits, but one unhealthy meal cannot erase years of thoughtful living either. Perhaps this understanding also changes the way we think about control. We cannot control every aspect of health. Genetics, accidents, infections, and unexpected illnesses remain part of the human experience, but we are not powerless. Every nutritious breakfast, every evening walk, every full night's sleep, every glass of water instead of a sugary drink, every serving of vegetables, every handful of nuts eaten in moderation becomes a quiet investment in the future. The remarkable thing is that these investments often produce benefits far beyond what we originally expected. A habit started for prostate health may improve heart function. Better sleep may enhance memory. Daily walks may strengthen bones, improve mood, reduce stress, and support healthy blood sugar. Choosing whole foods may influence digestion, immunity, and energy all at once. The body responds as a connected system because it has always been one. When we begin caring for one part with wisdom and patience, we often discover that every other part quietly benefits as well, reminding us that lasting health is not created by chasing miracles but by honoring the extraordinary intelligence of the human body through simple choices repeated with consistency, gratitude, and respect over the course of a lifetime. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Every person's health condition is different. If you have symptoms of an enlarged prostate, persistent urinary problems, or any other medical concern, consult a qualified healthcare professional for proper evaluation and personalized guidance. Never ignore professional medical advice or delay treatment based on information from this video.